This is your local election headquarters.
Welcome back to This Week in Louisiana Politics. We are joined by U.S. Congressman Garret Graves. He is a Republican from Louisiana. Thanks for coming on the show, Congressman.
You bet. Thanks for having us back.
Well, we have lots to talk about. We have several issues we want to cover. But first up, I want to get your response to President Biden canceling the offshore oil and gas leases in the Gulf of Mexico. Is this a bad time?
Fred, it's just inexplicable. I mean, we're experiencing right now the highest gasoline prices in American history. And rather than coming in and actually trying to solve the problem, trying to actually help out the American economy, decrease inflation, make the ability to refuel your car affordable, they're doubling and tripling down on the very policies that have caused these record prices. Not only are they canceling some of these lease sales, but they're also increasing by 50% the amount of money that you have to pay to the government for energy production in the United States, out of whack with what you're seeing in other countries. All these moves are doing is further helping out people like Vladimir Putin, China, Iran, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia. It is baffling to me that you have people that can look at what is going on right now with United States energy policy and think that these types of decisions make sense.
So with this move, do you predict that it will have a direct result and we will see gas prices go up?
I think you're going to continue to see gas prices rise during the summer, particularly diesel.
All right, let's move on to the Ukraine. On Tuesday, the U.S. House passed a $40 billion aid package for Ukraine. This is to help Ukraine fight Russia. You voted no on this. Why?
Fred, I've been to Ukraine. I've been to Poland. I've spoken to Ukrainian refugees. What is happening in Ukraine is absolutely awful. It is unacceptable to have just a thug like Vladimir Putin going in and invading these sovereign countries like he's doing. And the Ukrainian military deserves our support. The Ukrainian people deserve our support. Here's the problem. We have already provided tens of billions of dollars in assistance to Ukraine in the form of military aid, humanitarian aid, other assistance in terms of positioning, for example, the 82nd Airborne right there at the border in Poland. All kinds of assistance we're offering. Last week, they said it was going to be $30 billion. We come in town on Tuesday and Pelosi, within hours of arriving, introduces a bill that is $40 billion. It doesn't have sufficient detail. All it talks about is how we're going to shovel billions and billions of dollars out the door. And here's the thing. This is money for housing, money for food, medical assistance, all sorts of things that people right at home in Louisiana need as well as a result of Hurricane Ida. We were able to get an initial tranche of funds 1 month after Hurricane Ida to provide assistance. We knew it wasn't going to be enough, but it was a down payment. It was to try to get things started. But that was back in September. It is now May, and we have been trying to get additional funds. So we did two things. Number one, we offered an amendment in terms of Ukraine and said, look, you've left $10 billion in United States military equipment, tanks, helicopters, all sorts of arms and munitions in Afghanistan that the Taliban is out there right now pilfering. We need to go collect those American assets, those American military assets and advanced technologies. Give those to Ukraine. Don't give them to the Taliban. Give them to the Ukraine military. Secondly, we offered a second amendment that would put $3 billion, redirect $3 billion in international disaster assistance, direct a portion of that to Hurricane Ida and other disaster victims right home in the United States. We've got to make sure we're taking care of our own people first. I think the lack of accountability, the lack of transparency on the Ukrainian dollars, combined with the fact that they rejected our amendments, sending the U.S. military equipment in Afghanistan over to Ukraine and rejected our amendments on Hurricane Ida and other disaster aid. That's why we voted no. It was the right vote. Not at all opposed to helping Ukrainian military or people, but not while just completely ignoring the needs of our own citizens.
They rejected your amendments. You also mentioned that they kind of sprung it on you.
They did. The bill was introduced within hours of arrival back into Washington on Tuesday. Again, it was $10 billion more than we had discussed just the previous week. There was no indication as to why, no clear justification. The bill, all it does is, for example, says we're going to provide $4.3 billion in international disaster aid without any type of real explanation. Got an $8 billion program. I mean, just $4 billion program. All of these dollars, just these top line numbers, without any type of detail on what the funds are going to be used for, what the accountability mechanism is, ensuring that this equipment and dollars get to the true people in need, and how in the world they landed at around $40 billion, a round figure, is really just, I think it's very concerning. And I can't say it enough. I am very supportive of providing help to the Ukrainian military in concert with other countries and the Ukrainian people, but not this type of irresponsible spending that is going to contribute to the already explosive inflation numbers that we've seen in the United States.
All right, and you said it, inflation. Let's talk about inflation. We just got some new numbers out this week. Any relief in sight?
No, and similar to energy, Fred, there's no plan, there's no strategy coming out of the White House right now, which is really unfortunate. I have never in my lifetime seen just a White House cabinet officials that appear so wholly unprepared for the jobs that they're in. This is just, it is amazing to me. We've got worker shortage issues. You've got millions of Americans that still haven't returned to work. The workforce participation rate's well below where it needs to be. In excess of 4 million workers haven't returned to the workforce. 11 million jobs open available right now. The supply chain problem, there is nothing going on out of this administration trying to address some of the supply chain issues. If we haven't learned anything from this Putin invasion of Ukraine, we've got to have a secure supply chain. We've got to produce more things domestically. We cannot rely upon China and some of these other countries that are always going to do things in their own self-interest. These are huge mistakes. And unfortunately, we're seeing President Biden just double and triple down on these bad policies that we should have reversed long ago. And so I think one of the major contributing factors to inflation is what's going on in energy. Look, it doesn't matter if you're a retiree, if you're a high schooler driving yourself to school. It doesn't matter if you're ordering things off of mail order or through the internet. Every single one of those, if you're getting on an airplane, if you're getting on a train, all of these things are affected by the higher energy prices. And this is one of those things that really just reverberates through the economy, no matter what sector you're in. We've got to get energy prices under control. And by continuing to stop, shut down, prevent domestic oil and gas production, and shutting down mines and other things that are producing minerals for renewable energy production. This administration's energy policy is no to everything, and the prices you're seeing today is exactly what happens when you carry out these flawed strategies, and of course the major influence on why we're seeing record inflation.
So President Biden has said he's getting lots of criticism from you Republicans, but he says you guys haven't come to the table with any solutions. I imagine you disagree with that?
Which is unbelievable. I've introduced bills. We've introduced packages of bills. I'd invite the president to visit our website where we've got all of the legislation that we've introduced. We've asked him, going back to January of last year when he started signing executive orders banning new energy production, we started sending him letters, started introducing legislation that lay out exactly what needs to happen to address these things. I'd invite the president to visit our website. We've got it all laid out, and he can just simply follow that blueprint, and it'll help return America to prosperity. All
right, Congressman Garret Graves, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.